Well, welcome to this fireside chat. What we're going to look at today is how we can add value for our clients and why we should add value. And to illustrate the point, we're going to look at how we go about writing case studies. Remember, we covered case studies in an earlier session. We're going to take it that one stage further today. So why should we add value? Three obvious reasons. First of all, it's a superb way of differentiating yourself from the vast majority of copywriters out there. Once you've differentiated yourself, of course, then you're in a position to be able to go for premium pricing. People are willing to pay that little bit more for somebody that adds value. And thirdly, it's an ongoing thing. Clients will come back to a copywriter where they know that they're going to get that extra. We can divide our potential clients into three main areas. There are those that are looking for a cheap and dirty solution. And these are the people that we want to walk away from. Typically, they will be looking for copywriters, offshore copywriters. Secondly, there are those people that are buying that most valuable commodity, time. Now, they're perfectly capable of writing their own copy, but they've got other things on their plate, so they're happy to pay to outsource it. And this is the sort of client that we are looking for. Thirdly, there's the type of client who's looking to buying more than simply time. They want to buy your skills. They want to buy your expertise. And these are the people who are willing to pay more still, and they're the sort of people who will come back for more over time. These, if you like, are our gold prospects. So I'm going to address those, and I'm going to show you how you can add value. To illustrate the point, we're going to talk about writing case studies. Do you remember in our previous session, we talked about the basic structure of a case study: problem, solution, benefit. And that, with slight variation, it is the typical structure of a case study. You know, we start off with a strong headline, usually stating a benefit that's been achieved, such as Company X drives down costs and captures market share with Zizzo. We follow with a brief couple of lines summarizing the whole of the case study. We go on to a description of the challenges that Company X has been experiencing before they adopted Zizzo, the business reasons they had for change, and the criteria for selecting the right product or services to solve those problems. And finally, we sum up with the benefits they're now enjoying, and possibly a description of the excellent relationship they have with the people at Zizzo. I'm going to show you a couple of samples now of what can often happen after you've written a case study for a client. I've blurred the text purposely to protect the innocent, because these are real live organizations, large ones, and see if you can spot what is wrong with them. In this first example, this is a printed case study, and this is an online case study. So what do they remind you of? Well, they remind me of sort of copies of the Times circa 1900. Text heavy, well, not just text heavy, I mean exclusively text, possibly with just a tinted panel. Things have moved on somewhat since 1900, and editors really understand how to draw readers into their text, how to entice them. So let's look at the sort of things that editors tend to use, because maybe that would be a good idea to apply them to case studies. One of the tricks is to use something called call-outs. This is a single sentence or a couple of sentences taken from the main text and blown up, often with quotation marks to give it even more immediacy. Nowadays, people don't start at word number one and work their way through an article or through an item. They tend to skip read. They skim the page. They skim the screen. And this is particularly true, of course, about a copy on screen. So call-outs are a wonderful way of capturing their attention and drawing them into the text. But even if it doesn't succeed in drawing them into the main text, they'll go away with at least one message simply having read the call-out. So an incredibly powerful technique. Something else, of course, that editors use are photographs of real live humans. And sometimes they'll combine the two. So the photograph will be accompanying a call-out. And to give it that extra immediacy, the big quotation marks. What a marvelous opportunity then for you to add value to your client. If you can see from their website or from their printed literature, they tend to be the very pedestrian, text-heavy approach. Why don't you suggest they adopt an editorial style? I'll show you an extreme example. So this is perhaps an extreme example of editorial style. We've chosen here to make it look as though it was a page taken from a magazine. It is in fact a case study, and it was written for a computer company specializing in the fashion sector. So a strong photograph, a call out in red. It really does look like a page from a magazine. It gives a third party perspective. So rather than a computer company saying how wonderful they are, this appears to be an external journalist reporting on how wonderful this computer company is. In this example, it's again an editorial style written for a very small company, three or four man company, who managed to close a contract with a very large organization, with NATO. But instead of reporting it in the traditional case study approach, we made it look again like an article from a magazine, strong photograph, that's simply taken from a library shot. But we went that one step further, adding value by speaking directly to their client. And we're able to include then two photographs of real-life humans, one of them a pretty young lady who happened to be a captain in the US Navy, and the other a senior executive within NATO. So an incredibly more powerful case study than the traditional pedestrian approach. So there we have it. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it useful. If so, it means I've added value.